In the dusty streets of Lagos, beneath the gray skies of a fading afternoon, 3 frail little children with matching faces, oversized sandals, and desperate eyes stood outside the gates of a high-end private hospital, clutching a crumpled photo of a smiling woman and a letter written in shaky handwriting. They were triplets, Toby, Temi, and Tara, barely 7 years old, dressed in worn-out clothes that had seen better days. With tear-streaked faces and empty stomachs, they waited for a miracle outside the towering gates of the Lifeline Hospital, owned by none other than the most feared yet respected billionaire doctor in the country, Dr. Michael Adekunle. Inside, Dr. Michael, a man with an icy gaze and a reputation for being untouchable, walked briskly through the corridors in his white coat, unaware that 3 tiny shadows of his past were calling out to him just a few feet beyond the hospital walls. The triplets' mother, Aisha, a once vibrant woman now reduced to skin and bones by a mysterious illness, lay unconscious in a cramped room in the slums. She had spent years shielding her children from a truth she hoped they'd never have to face, that their father, the man she once loved with all her soul, had abandoned her when she needed him the most. That man was Michael. Years ago, before the fame, before the billions, before the white coat and power, Michael had loved a girl from the village, and she had loved him back more than life itself. But when his wealthy family learned of their secret relationship, they forced him to choose his dreams or his love. Michael chose ambition, leaving behind a pregnant Aisha without a word, believing she'd survive on her own. But Aisha never told him she was carrying not 1, but 3 of his children. Now, years later, fate had pulled the strings tighter. The children had discovered an old photo of their mother with Michael, and behind the image was scribbled the name of the hospital he worked at. With Aisha drifting between life and death, the triplets made their way across the city, on foot, hoping that maybe, just maybe, the man in the photo could save her. As they stood at the hospital gate, trembling and afraid, the security guard chased them away, but something in their eyes made him pause. "Please," Temi cried, gripping the letter. "Our mummy is dying. Please give this to the doctor. Please." The guard hesitated, then took the letter. Inside the hospital, Michael was just finishing a press briefing about his new international medical partnership when a nurse handed him the stained letter. He opened it absent-mindedly, expecting the usual plea for money. But his hands froze when he read the first line. "If you're reading this, then maybe the man I once loved still has a heart." His knees weakened. He read further. "The children you're about to meet are yours." Panic, confusion, rage, regret, all hit him at once. He rushed out of the room, heart pounding, and there they were, standing quietly at the far end of the hospital lobby now, faces downcast. Toby, the boldest of them, looked up and said, "Sir, we're sorry. We didn't know where else to go. But you're our daddy. Mommy is dying." Michael's vision blurred. He collapsed onto a chair, unable to speak. The children. His eyes scanned their faces. The shape of their lips, just like his sister's. The eyes, Aisha's eyes. His world spun. For the first time in years, the ice around his heart began to thaw. But could he really be their father? Could the woman he left behind have kept this secret all these years? And was she dying? Michael couldn't breathe. The hospital lobby spun like a carousel of haunting memories as the 3 little children looked up at him. So much like her, so much like him. For a moment, he forgot the titles, the billion-dollar contracts, the accolades that had crowned his name. All that remained was an unbearable silence between a father and the children he never knew he had. Temi reached into her pocket and pulled out a tattered photograph, a young Michael and Aisha, holding hands under the mango tree in the village. It hit him like thunder. "Please," she whispered, her voice cracking. "Mummy is not waking up. We walked for so long to find you. You're her only hope." Without a word, Michael grabbed his keys, ignoring the calls of his assistant and the chaos he left behind. The children ran to keep up with him as he pushed open the doors of his Range Rover. "Where is she?" he asked, his voice trembling. "Take me to her. Now." The drive into the slums of Lagos was a world away from Michael's luxury lifestyle. His imported leather shoes stepped into sewage-filled potholes as he followed the children through narrow alleys, passing hungry eyes and broken homes, his soul shrinking with each step. Finally, they arrived at a small room with rusted zinc walls. There on a torn mattress lay Aisha, her face pale, lips dry and her breath shallow. Michael stood frozen, his hands shaking. This was the woman who once held his dreams. The girl he left to chase a world that now felt hollow. Aisha's body was covered in sweat, her chest rising and falling erratically. Michael dropped to his knees. "Aisha, oh God," he whispered. He touched her face, and for a second her eyelids fluttered. Her lips moved. "Me, Chael." It was the softest whisper, barely a breath. He held her hand. "I'm here. I'm here now. I'm so sorry. I didn't know. I didn't know about the children, about you." But her eyes had already shut again. Time was slipping. Michael pulled out his phone. "Prepare the emergency ward. Get the ventilator ready. Alert the blood bank." He barked orders, turning the entire hospital into a war zone. An ambulance tore through the slums minutes later, sirens howling. Aisha was lifted gently into the van, her children clinging to each other as they followed closely behind. Back at the hospital, Michael worked like a man possessed. He scrubbed in, took command of the surgical team, and did what he hadn't done in years: operated. The clock ticked. The machines beep. The children waited outside, huddled together, praying in whispers. Hours passed before the operating room doors swung open. Michael emerged, drenched in sweat. The children ran up to him, hearts pounding. Is Mommy okay?" Toby asked, clutching his hand. Michael looked down at them, his children, and broke into tears. "She's going to be okay. She's strong, just like you three." For the first time in years, the billionaire cried. Not for money, not for loss, but for a second chance. Over the next few days, Michael never left Aisha's side. The hospital suite was transformed into a home, filled with fresh flowers, laughter, and the sound of children playing for the first time without fear. When Aisha finally woke up properly, she turned her head and saw him sitting beside her, eyes swollen from sleepless nights. "You stayed," she said weakly. "I should have never left," he replied, kissing her knuckles gently. "I was a coward. But I promise you, I will never leave you or the children again." Aisha wept, the pain of years washing out through her tears. "They missed you, even without knowing you." Michael turned to the triplets, who were drawing stick figures on a whiteboard, and whispered, "They're my heartbeat now." Months passed. The story of the billionaire doctor who discovered his secret family and chose love over power made headlines across Africa. But for Michael, it wasn't about the press. It was about redemption. It was about kneeling before the woman he once wronged, earning back her trust, and learning how to be a father from scratch. He built a new home, not just of walls and windows, but of warmth and forgiveness. Aisha's health was fully restored, and one warm morning, as the sun kissed the sky golden, Michael knelt before her with a small velvet box. "Let me do it right this time," he said. Aisha trembled, tears slipping down her cheeks. "You already did, just by coming back." He slipped the ring onto her finger as the children clapped. Aisha whispered to the triplets, "Remember, no matter how long it takes, love always finds its way home." And in the eyes of those children, who once stood in rags, begging a stranger to save their mother, there was no longer fear. Only hope, love, and the light of a family finally whole.